So I just came across a trading strategy that's absolutely crushing it quietly this year. And I dug deeper and it turns out this came directly from TradingView, and there's actually a lot of people already using it and enjoying it, but I decided to take a closer look. I wanted to look deeper into the strategy, what it does, the whole concept behind it. I wanted to back test it, and then I wanted to think about potentially automating it in two different ways. Here's what I found. So I'm logged in here to AlphaInsider, and what I was doing was I was just scrolling through the site like I usually do, and sometimes I'll click into different strategies to just check them out to see if they're, potentially worth my time. And so I found this one right here, the mean reversion and trend following strategy right here. And it's up 162% right now and moving on the year. And I say, okay, when I see a chart that looks like this, my initial thought is not, oh my gosh, I need to automate this immediately in my own brokerage account. I'm skeptical because a really nice line to the upside probably just means it's bought and held something for quite some time. So is it simply just a buy and hold, got lucky because we're in a bull market, or is there more substance behind the strategy? That's what I'm here to find out. So as I scroll down, I see we've gotten some dividends, and the last trade that it took was a buy on Google back on May 23rd, 2025. That's quite some time ago from when I'm making this video, near the end of 2025. But then I thought to myself, okay, cool. What's the description say? Is it simply a buy and hold? Well, because there was quite a bit of action, at least at some point this year, and the strategy only recently got uploaded to AlphaInsider back on March 10th, 2025. So what's going on? So we see a short introduction right here, and then we see some key features, but clearly it got cut off. So what I decided to do is I click on this link right here, and I found this script on TradingView. Okay, and I scrolled down and we can see that there's actually a lot more details behind it. So what is this actually doing? Well, really what's going on here is it's playing a mean reversion trading strategy, which is based off the RSI, and then it's also using the 200 period simple moving average as kind of a buy and hold and a trend following approach. So the reason why, as we go back to here, the reason why it bought Google and it's still holding it and it's gotten some dividends in the process is because we are above the 200 period moving average. And I'm going to show you what that looks like on Google in a second. But this paragraph right here really describes what's actually going on. So it's in the mean reversion mode when price is below the 200 period moving average. So it's playing off the RSI. And then it goes into trend following mode where it's more of a buy and hold while the price is above the 200 period simple moving average. It goes on to tell you when buy and sell signals are going on. And then it essentially tells you how to use the script on TradingView. Now I'm going to leave a link down below this video that'll take you right to this page on AlphaInsider, which then you can click on this link right here, which will take you to the page over on TradingView. This way we don't have to drop two links. It's just simple. I can put one link and it's all there. So there's some more details here, but let's go ahead and actually use this and see how it looks on our charts and then backtest it. So I go to the source code right here. I'm going to copy the source code. I'm going to pull up Google on my chart right now on the daily time frame. I'm going to go open up the Pine editor and I'm going to now drop in, completely paste over what I have inside of here because I don't really care about that. Paste it in, click on add to chart, and now I'm going to see the overview right here. Okay. Awesome. We're going to come back to that in just 1 second. So now what I'm looking at right here is a bunch of different actions or essentially entries and exits that have taken place, which lines up very much with what we saw on AlphaInsider. So all this action that was going on really at the beginning of the year, March into April and into May. Well, if we go back to this trading strategy here, we can see that some of these were taking place back really in March, April, and then May. The last buy was actually made. If I scroll in and look really closely, the last buy that was made was right in here. Okay, so we had a buy there, and since then, nothing's going on because we are above the 200 period moving average. And so since then, there's been no reason to close the trade, or there hasn't been a trigger for the trade to close. It actually got close right in here, but the trade hasn't closed. So that's why it's now up so much, and it's much more of a swing trading strategy. So now I'm into the backtesting aspect of TradingView here. And what I see this performance graph. This is going back to 2007, 2008 when it began, which is a long time ago. However, it's up over 1900%. I mean, that's just like a stupid number. This can all be optimized or changed based off of our settings. So if I go into the settings of the strategy, we can change the inputs, the properties, all that. So if I want to change this starting date and I want to move this guy all the way along, for example, let's say we wanted to move this to 2020, we can get a more zoomed in view. You can see that there's really not that many trades. There's 25 trades going on and it's up 211%, but that's realized. What we don't see based off this chart is this massive run because it's not accounted for. We haven't locked the trade in. This massive run is not being shown, but what we do see is these big periods of massive massive moves, and then we are followed by periods where the strategy more so consolidates, either breaks even, maybe loses a little bit, but then it's followed up by a big push. So what that's telling me is it makes a ton of money when we go into the next bull market or the very strong trending market as we're seeing. And then it's kind of like in a holding pattern in a bear market. And that's kind of cool because to me, it's like, wow, I can kind of sit back and I can have something that trades for me that is going to crush in a bull market. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't have to guess. I can let the strategist do what it does. And inside of a bear or a choppy market, I can let it do its thing. I know I'm not going to get completely blown out because we see the max drawdown was 20%, which could be substantial, but when it's up 200%, a 20% drawdown to me is not that big of a deal. I can stomach that. But then it got me thinking. So I open this up, I go to the settings, and you can do this for the strategy, by the way, guys. This is fully customizable by you. I can go into the properties, I can change the starting balance, the order size, I can change things and add commissions in so I can recalculate this if I wanted to. But if I jump down to the inputs, we have enable mean reversion and enable trend following. So if we were to go back to what the strategy does, there is a mean reversion mode and there is a trend following mode. It's combining the two of those, right? So when price is below the 200 moving average, we're in the mean reversion mode. When it's above, we're in the trend following mode. And the trend following mode is when we have those huge trades, we just sit in those trades and it makes a lot of money. Essentially follows the bull market and it goes until the bull market ends or the price falls back below that 200 moving average on whatever stock, whatever asset we're looking at. But if I was to get rid of the trend following mode and click on OK, what I'm now looking at is if I simply were to customize a strategy, change it a little bit, and see how the performance would be if all we did was play the mean reversion strategy. No trend following, just mean reversion all the time, all day. And what I see here is a very promising strategy. I see like 15.9, 16% drawdown, up 73%. Yes, this is over the course of now back to 2020. It's about 5 years. So this is over 5 years. It's not like, oh my gosh, this is blowing the S&P out the water. The past 5 years, the S&P's done very, very well. Past 5 years, individual stocks, buy and holds have done very, very well. However, it's a diversification approach. This is a trading strategy that's not relying upon a bull or a bear market. This is clearly doing well. So what I'm now going to do is jump back into the settings and I'm going to enable the trend following only. So no mean reversion. But what we're going to notice is that we only have a couple of trades here because this is when it takes those massive trades. It just gets in and it just rides that trend until that trend no longer holds up, until we fall back below the moving averages. And this approach up 200% with a 17.5% drawdown. Now we go back to settings and add in the mean reversion again. Combine the two, we now have 211% in profits. But unrealized, we still have all these massive gains that if we just keep trending up for the next 2 years, for all I know, we don't know, I have no idea, you don't have no idea. If that keeps happening on Google and we never fall back below that 200 moving average, this could keep going. And this next trade is likely going to be a very large green bar, which is going to dramatically increase what our total P&L looks like. So what I see is two opportunities here. I see an opportunity to play off of what we already have and just let the strategy do its thing by itself. But I also see an opportunity to customize this to trade the individual strategies as well if I want to diversify or modify how I'm trading the markets or change to a different stock. So let's take a peek at that. Now let's look at NVIDIA as an example, because I think a lot of us, our immediate thought process was, let's go to NVIDIA and see how that's performing. I mean, guys, the numbers are stupid. Now, of course, we can change the P&L numbers because if I was to go into the settings and I was to adjust properties for initial capital and initial size, all of these things will change and they will, alter the back test performance. So that's fully customizable based off of the amount of money that you would be using, all that. But either way, back to that same time span, if I just jump in to look at NVIDIA, what we're looking at is a situation where this thing has gone on some pretty big runs. We saw back in 2023, it crushed, and then we had this massive move, and now we see that strategy is kind of just hanging out here. But it's up 2,000%. Now, NVIDIA's up a lot as well, but if I was to jump back into the settings, I was to get rid of the trend following and only look at the mean reversion, let that play out over time, what we're going to see as it updates is a very similar curve. This didn't do amazing in the bear market of 2022, but what it has done since then is done very, very consistent. Even during that period, we had a 25% drawdown. So just take a step back and look at NVIDIA. If I was to take you back to that same time span, right, where NVIDIA peaks here late 2021 and then it bottoms out in late 2022, what we see is roughly a move down or a drawdown of 75%. So if I was to buy and hold the stock, I'm down 75%. if I'm just a swing trader or an investor. Now, obviously it's come back many, many times that, but we didn't know that at the time that it would do that, obviously. However, this strategy was down 25%, where we can even see it even says at the bottom, it was down 23.31% actually, and the decline was for 308 days, and it took about 400 days to recover fully, but our account did not fall 75%. So we've got kind of a way to mitigate some of that bear market downside. Obviously in a bear market, this didn't work. Like the strategy lost money for a period of time, but since then it's crushing. And so if you take this into consideration and then you also add in the trend following as well, we have a killer strategy that's crushing it. And if we jump into what's going on right now, again, the same situation here as we had on Google, we have an entry and price is so far higher right now that even when this does come back and break below our EM or our SMAs right here, when that does occur, what's going to end up happening is this will likely lock in another massive green trade. We'll take another massive bump to the upside. And now we've got a strategy that's absolutely blowing the market away and it's not even close. And we can customize that and use this and automate this inside of AlphaInsider, which is, I think, the coolest part of this whole thing. We can customize this to trade NVIDIA. We had the clue, we had the first piece with Google, which is crushing. But all I have to do now is bring this strategy in that I have now created on TradingView. I've customized it, I've made some adjustments, bring this in to AlphaInsider, connect my broker, and I'm good to go. If you have questions on how to do that, because right now on AlphaInsider, the easiest thing to do is I can subscribe to the strategy right here, and I can click on the button that says auto trade. I can then connect to my broker, create my own trading bot, and let this thing run for me, which is great. But what if I want to trade NVIDIA? Well, now I'm going to have to pull this in from TradingView, which is going to take a couple of copy and paste, not a crazy coding thing. Really, again, all this took in terms of coding was literally going to this thing, copying this code, okay, and then putting it in the Pine editor, pasting it, clicking a couple buttons, and now I have it. And to load this into AlphaInsider to literally create one of these, like anyone could go on the site and create one of these. Like I didn't do this. This is someone else that pulled this in. So you can do this yourself as well. You can make it private so no one can even see it. So you can just use it your own, which might be what you want to do. And then you can have it auto trade for you or have the alerts go off right here. So you get alerted when trades happen. This way you can take the trades on your own. This is one of those strategies where, yeah, the automation is great, but you don't even have to do that because it doesn't trade very often. So as long as you're following along, you have notifications set for trades. Now I'm going to see when a trade is triggered, and then I'm going to go to my broker, execute it just like a swing trading strategy. And if it performs well, we might get to see returns over the course of the next couple of years that look somewhat like this if our stock performs well. So that's what's cool about it. Again, past performance in a backtest does not guarantee future results. A lot of problems with backtests. There's things like curve fitting. It's not accounting for slippage, not accounting for fees. So you have to think about those things as well. But on AlphaInsider, those concerns are essentially wiped because what we have here is an ability to see how it trades real time live. So I don't have to necessarily copy it. I don't have to trade with my broker. I can watch it trade live. And what I see right now is this is doing well. It seems to be performing like how the backtest was showing. So that gives me confidence in letting it trade live for me without me having to worry and monitor and think about, oh, is the backtest is going to be some BS? No, this one looks pretty good based off of first looks and looking deeper into how this is working. On this channel and in the description box, I'm going to leave a video showing you guys exactly how you can bring in and connect any trading strategy that you have on TradingView into AlphaInsider so you can use it for yourself. You can sell it as a subscription. People have to subscribe to it. You can make some money that way. You can make it private, do whatever you want. Ultimately, the idea here is to be able to automate it with your own broker so you can be completely hands off. I will link that up below this video. It's also on the channel. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them below. This is awesome, and I am definitely going to be doing more deep dives like this on the channel. Thanks so much, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.